Hey yo, what's up?
Hey,
This is Jack. This is
hey,
Jack. Joseph, yeah.
hey, how's this? Yeah, how's this work, man?
Oh,
Can I see it, or
yeah, things are great. All right.
do we do a video?
Yeah. Can you try like turning it on? I don't know where is
Yeah,
it
is
on the
it
phone.
this?
Oh
Ah, there
yeah.
we go,
All
there
right.
we go.
Damn. Awesome.
He's magnificent. Oh wait, what I hit? What I hit? Where are you at? Oh, I want to see myself as the main one because that's it's my
uh,
favorite.
yeah.
Are you popping up?
I think mine is not popping up because I'm doing a stream on YouTube, so I think it doesn't work
Ew.
at both areas. So are you comfortable
That's
doing it
fine.
this way? Yeah.
Yeah, you can be like a mystery girl,
Yeah. But it will turn
What's
out
up,
that
dude?
it will turn out to have you on the live stream.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no problem,
yeah. I'll try to get it set it up. You
man.
know.
Dude, I'm gonna be hilariously honest with you. I totally forgot again that we were doing this tonight,
Oh
and
gosh. Yeah.
because I just like so much happens. And so I just got home from work and was made some hot tea and checked my Instagram. And you're like, "Hey man, you ready?" I'm like, "Oh shit, that's tonight!" And like right now. And so, but it was perfect though because I'm here, and then yeah, I had a couple minutes just to get everything ready. So I apologize if I'm not more prepared, but maybe that's the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
in the moment. It's raw. It's wriggling, like Smeagol would say.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Remember from
looking
Lord of the
for.
Rings?
That's super awesome, the
I like that
rawness. Yeah.
raw.
Yeah. All right, all right.
Oh, what's up, dude?
All right. Um, if you're ready, we can just roll with the podcast. We can like
Yeah,
pretty much like try to understand each other through there because it's the first time for us interacting. Yeah,
no
yeah.
problem.
Does
Yeah,
it sound good
yeah.
to you?
Also,
That yeah,
yeah. Do I sound all right? I have headphones in, nothing fancy, but
yeah. I think it's totally perfect. Yeah.
and then I find out that I sound like this.
All right.
Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do with when I was playing like PlayStation with my friends is I'd be like, "Hey man, mic check. Can you hear me?" And they're like, "Yeah, I can hear you." And they're like, "Can you hear me?" And just put the mic in my mouth. And be like, God, stop! What? No! And it's always funny. Like my brother especially would always get super mad about that. Like I don't know why. He would just be like, "Dude, that's so annoying."
You guys like have real fun, yeah.
Always do, man. You gotta enjoy it. You gotta
That-
enjoy life.
yeah,
Enjoy the little
yeah.
things. So,
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So
yeah.
like before anything else, like before we proceed on to the podcast, like
Uh-huh.
how much time are you comfortable doing this? I usually
Um.
do want to go to 40-50 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's just wing it.
Oh, all
Let's
right.
wing it. If we end up having more time, like if we end up having nothing to talk about, then you got nothing to talk about, which I'm doubt will happen with me. If anything, you're gonna have to be like Joseph, just shut up, shut up 1 second. Um, and if it goes long, awesome. Let's just go for it.
All
And I'll
right.
let you know if it gets to a point where I'm like, time out, bro. I got to go take a piss. Then something funny like that. Then I'll just let you know. Okay.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Sweet.
With that, I think we can start with the podcast. Yeah. Cool with it?
Yeah, let me turn this down just a little bit. Let's see if I can get this turned down just a little bit more. And then are you putting me like up and down? Like how is it? You just put me like a little square? Like should I just center myself in the video or what?
I think this is great. This is
Okay.
yeah, we're good to go. Yeah. All
Yeah, it's
right.
just like I'm doing a cam show for you. Just like bam, bam, bam. You're like, oh geez, oh hey.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Chest
All
hair,
right.
man. People can't get enough of it. All right, go ahead, dude. Go
All
ahead.
right. Awesome. All right. We'll start in 3 seconds. Yeah. I'll press it.
Yeah.
Oh, hold up. All right. Welcome to the Jack Low Experience, and today joining me is Joseph. How are you doing, Joseph?
Hey, Jack. I'm doing great. How are you, man?
I'm doing great as well. So, like, before anything else, like, how I actually found you, was through Gary Vee's post. He posted up something.
Really?
Yeah, you did a comment, and I found it like, this guy he's thoughtful. He's making a meaningful
That's
comment
crazy, man.
and all.
I don't remember what
So
I said.
so I actually reached out you through Instagram DM, and you're like okay with it, and you're ready to go for the podcast and all that. And yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's
that's
wild. That's
yeah,
wild.
yeah, that's super
I had no
awesome.
idea that's how you found me. Thank you, man.
Yeah, so like because this is the first time for us interacting with each other, so like I like to understand from your world, like what is in your world and what are you about, and probably tell us who are you, what's your name, and how old are you. Yeah, with that as a start.
Yeah, so my name's Joseph David, and that's the name I was given. I don't know, maybe I'll change it someday, but I like it. Sometimes it goes JJ or Broseph David, or Broseph. That's my Instagram, Broseph David, like BROSEPHDAVID. But name's just a name, man.
Yeah.
So it's really, really cool that you actually saw me on Gary Vee's post, because I don't remember what that was, but it was probably one day where I was feeling a little philosophical, and I was like, "Yes, Gary, I'll say something back to you." Um, but it's kind of cool. Like I really like Gary Vee. I've worked for his VaynerMedia, his like social media company.
Oh.
I found Gary more or less through working for his company as this like a social media influencer, quotation marks, doing like social media, like creating content for like sci-fi and TBS and stuff like that, Redbubble.
Mm.
And around the same time, I was because they reached out to me like, "Hey, like, would you like to do this thing for the show?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." This was probably back in
Awesome.
like 2016, and around that time, that's when I found Gary Vee's stuff as well, and I was like, Gary Vaynerchuk, Vayner Media. Hey, it's the same guy. So that was really cool. I got
Oh,
his number somewhere. I don't know.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah.
Yeah.
So probably tell us like what do you actually do in your day-to-day life, and yeah, your Monday, probably run us through your Mondays to your Sundays, like
Oh,
what you about.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I guess. Okay, so the first thing is, this is gonna sound weird, but I kind of want to know, like, what's kind of the goal of the podcast? Like, where are we trying to go? Because we can go in a lot of different ways with this.
Oh, all right. So like my podcast is like trying to dive deep into like each individual's their life, what they
Okay, I dig
about,
it.
and
I
and
dig it.
then yeah, and I will just cut in some questions that I like to talk about, probably towards like mindset, probably like, oh, how do you deal with people's judgment? Like, do you creep out? Well, when do you crumble? You struggle or not? And
Gotcha,
yeah, yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. So that's where we want to go
Yeah.
into. Yeah.
All right. So I would say first and foremost, I'm an adventurer. But when I was younger, my adventures were, or you could say explore maybe. My adventures and exploration was more of the outside world. And through the past couple of years, especially like in 2019 and this year, my exploration adventures have gone much more inward.
Mm.
So I'm really fascinated with subjects like psychology, philosophy, the spiritual sciences. And
That's
when I was
awesome.
younger, yeah,
Yeah.
man, when I was younger, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that's just like where my soul naturally wants to go. So when I was younger, I was literally born the gypsy life. I was born on tour. My dad was a touring performing musician, and I was born in Florida on tour into the performing life. And so I grew up traveling around America, the United States of America and Canada with my family and my parents and performing. So from when I was like, I did it like when I was a kid, but from when I was like 12 to let's say 23, I was a professional entertainer, and we had our own show called the Caboodle Stoppers.
Mm.
Don't Google that, but you can if you want to.
Mm.
And we were on Y Swap and all this crazy stuff. And
Right.
after that, I tried to do like the regular life, and I realized I hated it. Like it's not for me. Like my
Mm.
person, my soul, my heart just felt totally crushed trying to do like a 9 to 5 corporate thing. So
Mm.
I remembered like late nights, dude, where I was just like walking outside my apartment, and I'm just like, man, this is bullshit. Oh, sorry. I hope I can swear on your
Yeah, you
podcast.
can. Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
know. Okay,
Feel
because I
free to
swear
do
all that
it.
stuff.
Yeah, I like
I'm like
that.
Gary Vee in that way. Okay. I don't do it on purpose. It's just to me, it's not mean because I'm not cussing at you. It's just
Yeah,
saying
I can feel your
it
energy,
just works.
It's like a expression word, like you gotta express
Thanks,
it
dude.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember walking outside this is like back in like 2015 or 2014.
All right.
And I was walking outside my apartment, and I was just like, like whatever you believe in at this point, I was just like, God, like this is bullshit. Like there's got to be more to life than
Right.
going to a job, so I can make money, so I can pay rent, so I can live, so I can sleep, so I can eat, so I can go back to my job. Like this, it's like cycle, which
Right.
probably like 95, 90, 75% of the people in this world are all stuck in that kind of hive minded cycle where they just keep doing things and they don't know why they're doing it and they're miserable. And so like depression and anxiety and like
Right.
alcoholism and drugs is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And yeah, we all have like shit happen to us, but you know what I'm saying? Like we get in this like drone cycle of just like 9 to 5. Everyone's like, the old song back in the 80s, everybody's working for the weekend. That was never supposed to be me. But I tried it for just a little bit. Like, I mean, like a year just just to
Right.
figure out that it wasn't what I wanted. And so through a
Right.
series of events, and we can get into it if you want. But I
Right.
end up basically choosing the road less traveled, and I chose to go for kind of an adventurous lifestyle where I would never have a guarantee. I knew I would never have a guarantee of like a job or anything like that, but my life would be so much more amazing. And that was before like I got into cosplay and all that stuff. So my life since that point, since I decided to just go that adventurous route, and actually, even before I got to that point, the decision, I had left my job to go do a theater performance for like 3 months, and then
Wow.
after that, I was like, I'm fucked, like. And so there
Right.
was many 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 nights where I'm just like, what do I do? And but I remember this is the big thing. I guess I'm telling the story for it.
Right.
I remember saying like, there's gotta be a way that I can do something like a job, work. I can do something that I love that gives me the lifestyle I want and pays good money. And for me, I wanted
Mm.
to travel. I wanted to be able to make a lot of money in a short amount of time. And I
Right.
wanted to have free time to work on art, passion, and stuff like that, creative stuff. And that's kind of that decision, knowing that I wanted that kind of thing. I didn't know what it was called. I just know I wanted that lifestyle. That choice got me to where I'm at now and to becoming the man I am now. So kind of a vague thing. We can get into it if you want, but I guess if
Yeah.
you're like, who are you? Where you been? I've been and even further, I guess, for the past 10 years, the last decade, from 2010 to 2020, I've been
Right.
consciously, consistently, whenever I could,
Right.
working on myself, on figuring out who I am, what does it mean to be a man, what kind of person do I
I
want to
like that a
be.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, 10 years. So people are like, man, it's so much easier for you, Joseph. I'm like, nah, dude. I'm working on this for 10 years. Like, but it does get easier or it does get better as you keep going. Like if you're starting at scrap day one, it's going to seem pretty big. But I like to think of it like our lives as like a room, right? So if you have a bunch of mess, like my room I'm in right now, if you have a bunch of mess all over the place, you look at it, or like a lot of dishes, like too many, you're like, man,
Right.
like there's no way I'm ever gonna do this. But if you just start with one dish or one shirt or one, piece of paper that's crumpled up on the floor, just one at a time, right? Eventually, before you know it, your whole room's gonna be clean. So I feel like that's how our life is. Or that's how like our karma is. And we just gotta go through like shit one piece at a time. And then eventually, as you get through that, you just feel very light and you feel very happy and your smile is just like natural.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Not
So
sure if that's
yeah.
what you wanted me to say, but
Yeah.
that's what I got.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Started.
like, what do you do right now? Like I like to understand like your daily basis, like the things that you actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like right
Okay, like
now.
do you
Yeah.
want to like you want to know like what a day is like or
Yeah. Like what
okay,
do you
so
do as a you know the things
yeah,
that you do? Yeah.
so it's a complicated story,
All
but I'll
right.
try to give you the short bit.
Yeah. Sure.
So I left because I keep doing these things where I'm like, all right, it's all on black, and then like it either hits or it misses. But I feel like that's just the way the universe gets us, at least gets me to where I need to be. So back in March of last year,
Right.
I left my really sweet, awesome dream like job and lifestyle that I was doing to go work for an even bigger one that I want to, which was an Indian motorcycle. And I love their bikes, I love the company,
Right.
and so I left. I went out to Cal. I went from Missouri, which is where I live and grew up, to move out to California to go work on the live on the west coast of America, and ride motorcycles. And I did it, and it was awesome. And it only lasted for 4 months though, and it was supposed to be at least like a year, at least 8 months. And so I had this like kind of like mini crisis in my life where
Right.
I left everything, my family, friends, everyone behind to go do this thing that I really, really wanted to do,
Wow.
and then boom, like out of nowhere, I got fired, like out of nowhere, and I was just fucked. Like I
Gosh.
was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, that's not supposed to happen, and I loved what I was doing, and I was really good at it. There's, of course, there's always things you look back and go, okay, I could have done that better, but that got me to this really fascinating thing where basically within a year, and this I think where life wanted me to go. Within about a year, I lost everything in my life. Like I lost the girl that I really cared about in my life. I lost the job, right? I lost the dream, I lost
Yeah.
the career, whatever you want to call it. My
Right.
family and I started like splitting apart, and they kind of disowned me for a while, which is really funny.
Wow.
But it was just part of the process. So I
Right.
found myself like legitly contemplating death. Like I was like, man, like
Right.
what's the point? Like, like I was like,
Right.
and I was like, and I was like, I don't know. So I thought about it, like not too severely, but I was thinking about it. And then I
Right.
realized though that I was in this magical place that if I lost everything,
Right.
it meant that I could only gain everything from that point. Because everything that I thought I needed, everything that I thought was me, like, oh, this is my identity, this is who I am, this is what I do, look at my accomplishments, it all just it all just faded away, or
Right.
it all just quickly like swept from under me. So I guess like if a wave comes in and you build an amazing sandcastle and the wave comes in and just takes it all out, and you're like, ah, you're like, what? I just did that for like a year. I was building that
Yeah. Yeah.
sandcastle.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
Yeah. That makes
so the
sense.
past yeah, so I came back home to Missouri back in I think it was August or July, August. And for a couple months I just like, caught up with my family, and I just remember I just like just sit there like outside, kind of meditating, be like, what the fuck do I do? And so I considered like doing joining the military, and I considered all these kind of things, and kind of just to consider like what life I want to have, like what's next, because I lost everything that I'd worked so hard over the past 5 years to build up,
Mm.
since the last time that I was in that thing. And I think that's good because you get too comfortable, right?
Right.
And you take it for granted. And that was me. I kind of took my sweets, the thing that I worked so hard to get, I started taking that for granted. And in some ways that's good because you don't want to hold on to things, you don't want to get too attached. But on the other hand, I was like, it's not that good. And I was like, oh dude, I had it so good. So
Right.
I end up finding myself like job wise, like I just need a job, like I just need to do something so I can figure out what I really want to do, because I have no idea what I really want to do now.
Right.
Do I go back to what I used to do? And the bridges were kind of burned. There was really no way. So it's kind of this weird limbo. So I ended up getting a job serving at my favorite sushi restaurant, and I've been doing that for the past couple of
Right.
months, and it's been a very humbling experience. When I first
Oh.
was there,
Yeah.
because I'm almost 30, right? So and I have kind of like a look like, hey, like you look like you got it together a little bit. So when people would meet me, they'd be like, so you in school, or like what are you doing here? And everyone would say it to me, and I'd be like,
Right.
no, not going to school. It's like, how do you explain? I had a crisis, early life crisis, and I don't know what the fuck I want to do anymore. And
Right.
so it's like you can't tell people that. So it was a really cool. And so at first, in fact, I was just listening to a video by I forget what the name of the guy, but about how we can feel really sorry for ourselves and we feel like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. And then I got to the point where I started really enjoying it.
Mm.
So I have a gift to I like to sing and play guitar. So
That's
I found a way
awesome.
to like,
Mm.
yeah, man, thank you. So it's just like a natural gift I have, right? That I was born with, and I kind of developed over the past like 30 years. But so when people come in and they have like a birthday, I was like, man, I want to do something special. So I literally like went home, got my little guitar that I took all over the world with me 2 years ago, and I wrote like a original birthday song for people for like that restaurant. And I went there and took it to the boss. I was like, hey, is this cool? And he's like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, give it a try. And that became
Wow.
like a thing.
Mm.
So it's really cool. So like basically, and then was I guess my point of saying this is
Yeah.
that I'm sorry, I'm a storyteller, man. I can't say anything in a short
Yeah.
way.
I like that a
So
lot. Yeah. You should do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So first when I got there, I started feeling like really sorry for myself. At first, because I'm like, man, like I used to be like riding motorcycles on the coast of California, and now I'm serving, crab rangoon on a fucking plate to people, and and dealing with people's shitty days. But there was something I
Right.
knew. I always wanted to be a server or try it. And the main reason why is I wanted to learn how to serve people. And I mean this in more of the deeper sense, not in the
Mm.
waiter sense, but in the way of
Right.
I wanted to actually learn how to serve people.
Right. Right.
And really cool is, so like when I'm not at work, what I'd be doing is I started like working out again, so getting in shape, and I go to the gym and I work out like hour, 2 hours a day. Usually,
Mm-hmm.
well, like 4 to 5 days a week. So I started getting in shape. I started building
Right.
my body up, right? And in the mornings, I'll go and I started like craving just sitting outside my apartment and just sitting there. And I could read, I listen to like a lot of like Alan Watts and like Wayne Dyer and like Rudolf Steiner and those kind of guys,
Right.
right? And just develop and get, like build my spirit, my mind back up, and just meditate and think and contemplate and like see an animal, and I was like, oh, what does that mean, And so like I basically been for the past like 6 months
Right.
creating a really healthy routine for my mind, my body, and my soul, and building myself back up. So what you don't know is right this well maybe no, but
Right.
right before I got fired back from my that dream job back in July, like 3 days before that happened, I took my very last antidepressants that I was ever going to do. So I had
Right.
been going through depression for the past couple of years, and my parents both have cancer. My mom was pretty bad.
Right.
And I was going through some shit, right? And also,
Yeah.
I have my childhood stuff, and so my family was like, you should really talk to your doctor about it. And I did, and the doctor's like, hey, I think you should take these medicines. So I
Right.
took the antidepressants, and I did it for a year, like I was supposed to,
Right.
and it had some really great it helped me, I think.
Right.
But I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to rely on these things. So I want to
Mm.
get to a place where I can create this balanced happiness, this harmony within myself organically. And I knew I could. And
Right.
then like the next day I was like, you're fired. Like it was literally like that, like out of nowhere. And so that
Right.
first week I was like, death? Maybe?
Mm.
And then I was like, nah, because I was like, all right, nah, fuck it. Like I want to see where this goes. But it was crazy, man. Like, in the movie, like the good guys are doing really good and they're
Yeah.
getting there and they're getting there, and then
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
that really big conflict where they crash down, or it could be like in the first Star Wars trilogy, the first movie, The New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back. That was like my Empire Strikes Back moment, like dun dun dun, dun, and everything just went. And so, I guess what I'm saying is that where I've been, what my daily thing has been back lately, is just building myself back up from that just random kind of tragedy or crisis that I experienced, if that makes sense.
Right, right, right. It all makes sense, like the moment like I started this voice call, video call, I can sense your energy, you're so like powerful, you're so charismatic and all that.
Oh, thank you,
And
dude.
yeah,
Thank you.
and I think that your ability to be able to recall so much of your memories, like the learning points that you had
Hmm.
throughout your entire life, it just fascinates me, like
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah, yeah. Like if you were to ask like a random person, like I did podcast with like multiple guests and all that, and
Hmm.
I'll ask about their daily lives and all, and they won't be able to recollect so many moments, that
Yeah.
make them the person that they are today, you know. And I believe that it's the stacking moments that leads to the person that you are today. And yeah, it's so powerful,
Yeah.
like all the
It's all
things.
those little things for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really
Continue.
like everything that you talk about so far. It fascinates me. All the
Oh,
moments
thank
that
you, man.
actually happen in your life. So that at one point you actually talk about, like at one point you found out that you have this like self realization that you want to do your thing. I don't know which part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be a free man, basically, or a free human.
Mm.
Yeah, be a free
So,
spirit.
so what are the things that you think that make you kind of like take a step back and look at things that, hey, I actually want to do things that I really matters to me, and I want to be myself, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so it's a process, and so I'll be honest with you.
Right.
Sometimes, and I'm learning this. This is something I'm working on. Like it's a
Mm.
problem I have, or not problem I have. It's something I'm learning, which is I have a hard time sometimes getting people from point A to point Z when I'm at point X. I'm like, yo, just catch up. Like you get here. So
Right.
and not that it's not like a competition. That's not what I mean. But like there's so many things I can recall the stories, and it takes a long story. There's so many things that happened to get me to that point. Even just the last 10 years, where to kind of explain. Sometimes I struggle with that, and I just want to like jump to the end. But that being said, I will do my best to get you through those different points.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of communicating. Like sometimes I have a hard time with that. So I guess the first thing is, since how do I say this? Well, first of all, since I was a kid, since I was a little kid, I
Right.
was. I hate to say, I always knew I was different, but there was always something weird about me. Like my parents kind of hated, like my dad kind of hated me, not really, but like kind of, because since I was two, my dad would be like, "Hey, Joseph, you should do that." And I'm like, "Why, Dad? Why do I have to do that?" But I wasn't being like disrespectful. I genuinely thought that he was full of shit. Does that make sense? Like I genuinely thought that
Right,
that just doesn't
right.
make any sense.
Totally.
Um, and
Yeah.
I think the reason why is just okay. I could say it, but we'll say that for later. So
Right.
I was like that since I was a kid, and there's just like I had a very like strong sense of not even sense of who I was, but a sense that I wasn't how to say it. So like okay, so like with the jobs, I didn't know what it was I really was supposed to do. I just knew it wasn't that there's like it's like a strong sense of like this is miserable. I'd rather die than be here. Like if it's that bad, get the fuck out. So with like freedom
Right.
and like what kind of life you want to have, there was a couple things that really got me to that point. One of the most powerful moments that I remember, and this was probably back in like the mid 20 teens, you know. Um,
Right.
I remember this moment where I was talking to my sister, one of my sisters, my sister Heidi Matrix, and because I used to want to be an actor, like really bad. Like, and I always had this vision of like one day I'll make a movie so great, and I'll get an Oscar, and I'll go on stage, and I'll be like, if I can do it, you can too. And it'll be this motivational speech of encouraging people, and of course, I'll also have like that my back scratch that I gotta be an actor and be an Oscar. And I had all these
Right.
visions and dreams and goals, and then reality, and I mean this in a good way, not in a negative way, but
Right.
sometimes it's just both. Reality started sinking in like I'm probably it's not gonna happen, and I don't really want to be a part of that Hollywood scene. Like I started realizing how like sick it is, like how, and I by sick I mean you can say gross, but I mean also like an unhealthy, like it's a really unhealthy place and mentality where everyone's just so fake and stuff like that. People that I know who live in there are like, hey man, we could use someone like you that's not fake because we're all fake. I'm like, well, that doesn't sound good for me, but okay. But like I started to accept that maybe I wasn't ever gonna get $1 million, or I wasn't
Right.
gonna be an Oscar-winning actor, or I wasn't gonna marry a princess, or whatever the fuck, right?
Right.
And I had this pivotal moment where, and I want to say it was something someone else said to me, but I kind of asked myself, do I really have to have like the dream, like have my dream, like the dream job or this, or would I be content with just living? Okay, it's like, do I really have to have the dream life in the sense of like, oh, I'm an actor and I'm married to a princess or whatever, like the things I thought I really had to have,
Right. Right.
or would I be just as happy, if not more happy, potentially, just living a dream lifestyle? Meaning, instead of
Mm.
getting those things, those achievements,
Right.
do I really need them? Or would I be good with just like living a life that makes me feel great, that brings value to me?
Mm.
And I realized, yes, I would. In fact, I'd probably be happier because because here's what happened, man.
Right.
So throughout my life, I had experiences where this is, I guess, kind of a big part of that, what you're asking, where I would really, really, really want something. Like I had a dream, I had a goal, and I'd finally get it, and then I would just feel shitty.
Right.
When I remember it was back in like 2016, and I was like, dude, I was like, growing my social media. I was really into like the whole influencer shit,
Right.
which
Right.
now I find kind of funny, but I was at that time, I was like, I really want to make like 100,000 followers. I get 100,000 followers and like grow my Instagram and do that, And
Right.
instead of like trying to be a famous actor or whatever, now I was trying to like social media thing. And I thought, well, hey, this is a win-win, right? Maybe doors will open for me, so which they did. So I thought maybe it'd take a couple years, whatever, and I ended up doing it in 8 months through a series of interesting events, which we can talk about if you want to, but it's not really important.
Right.
But within 8 months, I went from like 3,000 followers to like 103,000 followers, and they're all real. Like none of them were bought. and I was
Right.
basically world famous, like in the sense. So yeah, sure. Like people in Russia were like messaging like, "Oh my god!" Like because I did like cosplay and stuff. Like your Joker cosplay is the most amazing thing in the world. And these like gorgeous girls are like, "We want to fuck you." And I'm like, "This is great." And then
All right.
huge depression hit. Huge depression. It
Right.
was insane because something happened to me, and I realized that even though I got all these amazing things, right?
Right.
And I got to go meet like I got to meet actors and stuff like that. Some really cool opportunities open for me. I had put this once I get this, then I'll be happy kind of thing.
Right.
And once I got it, I had that moment of, yeah, I got it. And then realizing, oh, but now there's nothing left. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
happiness was based on once I get this, then I'll feel like this. Then I'll feel like I accomplished. Then I'll be great. And it's good to have goals and it's good to have aspirations, but a lot of times, if not all the time, we tend to attach some sort of expectation on that. Like once I get that, then I'll have that.
Right.
And you finally get that thing, and then you realize that it's not really what you wanted, or it doesn't really like it's just I guess like getting high
Mm.
or I don't know something. I'm trying to think of something like that where in the moment it's really great, but
Right.
afterwards it's gone. That's how it felt for me. And so, excuse me. So
Right.
that experience that well, first of all, that sent me into like kind of sent me into downward depression. I think it was because I was subconsciously or consciously starting to understand that oh shit, this stuff doesn't make me happy. Well, I
Mm.
just spent all this time and energy and money building this up, and now what? So then you feel lost again, and it's this really weird thing. So I started to begin to realize that I couldn't. Well, it's like well, basically these accomplishments, these goals, it's like whether it's graduating college or getting married or getting famous or doing this or doing that. Those things don't actually make you happy. But I wasn't ready to see the truth yet.
Right.
That it
Right.
was actually that you can only find that within yourself. It's something that you create within yourself all the time if you want to. Same
Right.
thing as like technically depression. I basically healed myself of depression by just changing the way I look at things and how I see
Mm.
things and how I operate. But sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked there. But
Right.
so
Right.
that kind of those little moments right there got me to a place where started to completely think differently about life. And even realizing like something can be easy for you or hard for you depending on how you expect it to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally. Like you are talking about like trying to achieve the goal to in order to feel a certain way. It's like me watching like Gary V's videos. He always talks about like
Hmm.
he chasing after going for the jets, which is
Yeah.
so big, so big. And he just talks about like I'm not chasing for the jets. I'm chasing for the journey. I like the journey on the way to chase for my jets. And I can pretty
Yeah.
much relate to that story of yours. Like you probably like crumbled after knowing that it's not the thing that you achieve that will make you feel the certain way that you want to be. So it totally makes
Yeah, I
sense.
didn't
Yeah.
even I didn't even understand the reason at the time, though. To be honest, I didn't real. I
Yeah.
can see it now. Now I get it. But
Right.
at the time, I was just like, I'm depressed, and like, what the fuck? And it's interesting too that you brought up Gary Vee like that. So I even noticed with Gary Vee, at first he was speaking most like success, success, success. He still does that, like hard work. Then he started changing it. And I assume this is probably because he had like a business version of Satori, of Awakening, where he realizes like I can't like he's probably started thinking, well, why can't I help these people or why aren't these people figuring it out or
Right.
well, what if like him being a businessman and working like I don't know 20 hours a day that makes him happy. That's his thing. That's the role. That's the game that he in life that he wants to play. That's what makes it fun for him. For me, that's not. I
Right.
would much rather be like like chilling outside in nature or talking to somebody or doing something like this. This to me is way more cool. Like I hate
Right.
work. I don't like work. I don't like
Right.
working. I am a hardworking person,
Right.
but working does not bring me that value in the sense of like for me and my personality type, it's exploring like the unknown and getting wisdom and knowledge and figuring shit out. That to me is like the best part. So
Right.
Gary Vee would be like, well, I can't tell him what works for me because that may not work for him. So if you notice, kind of, and I think it maybe in the last couple of years, he started changing, even like maybe last year, he started changing, talking more about like being happy and just like doing the shit that makes you feel good and doing
Right.
shit that you want.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is kind of where I got. This is where I've been getting. It's like, don't do anything you really don't want to do. And
Mm.
I mean, sometimes you have to, but try to live a life where you only do the things you really want to do. And this is, I think, the greatest definition of success that I ever read a couple years ago, which was
Mm.
success is doing what you want to do when you want to because you want to. And I
Right.
think that changes everything, dude. That's, I guess, if I was to explain, that's the lifestyle that I'm living, that I want to live, and I'm working, creating, is doing the things that I want to do because I chose to do it because it's what I'd like to try. And it's a totally different way of looking at it than, oh well, I gotta go to work and I gotta pay these bills. And it's like, you ever ask somebody like why they do something or why they're there and they can't tell you, they cannot answer the question. Like I say,
Right.
I don't know, someone say buys a coat or whatever, or no, that's not bad. Maybe it's like, okay, it's like you could see someone who working at a Fortune 500 company, and you're like,
Right.
man, so like, why are you here? And be like, his job, and it's like they can't
Yeah,
tell you.
yeah. Oh.
Well, I really thought about it, and in the end, I realized that what I really wanted to do was have this experience at this company. Like, you don't hear that very often, and when you
Right.
do it, it doesn't seem very authentic.
Yeah.
And this is a trippy experience I had recently as well. So, like, I was thinking about like doing like with when I came back to Missouri from California. I was like, well, do I want to like join the military? What do I want to do? Like, because I want to try a new thing. I want to try a new experience. And this is the funny shit, dude.
Right.
I was like, all right, yeah, cool, cool, cool. So I'll do it. I can do this. I can do that. I can do that. And I'll work really, really hard. And then what? And I realized that if I followed to the end goal of what I really wanted to get from that job, from that company, from that career field, in the end, I was going to take all that money and the hard work saved up and get a little bit of free time so I could go travel the world and do cool shit.
Right.
And I was like, well, why don't I just travel the world and do cool shit? Like, why don't I just start with that? You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so that's what I'm working on now. And
Mm.
similar thing, I'm working on making some money so I can pay off some bills, so I can kind of get like a little wiggle room, and then I want to go teach English all over the world, and
Oh.
literally just live all over the world because I realize that's what I really want to do. Now it's possible that I hate it, and then I'll decide, okay, this isn't for me. But
Yeah.
I looked at the end result. What's actually going to make me not happy, but what's going to bring me the lifestyle that I want? And if what I really love doing is talking to people, as you could probably know, I
Right.
love talking to people and sharing things and stories and ideas and
Yeah,
teaching.
yeah, yeah.
And I love traveling the world and I love doing cool adventures and seeing new things. Why don't I just do that? And of
Right.
course, then the answer started coming to me. I'm still in the process of like transitioning that, but it's so fascinating to me. Like to me, it makes total sense to look at like switch it. And maybe this is even something that Gary Vee's talked about, people like him.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of like, oh well, I'll do this, so I can do that, so I can get that on my resume, so I can then go do the thing I really want to do. It's like, if you why not just start with what you really want to
Yeah,
do? If
yeah.
you can, sometimes you do have to go through some processes. Like that's where I'm debating constantly. Like, do I just
Right.
go straight for living around the world, or should I do a couple things? And it's a balance, and I haven't made my mind up totally on that. I think there's pros and cons to both of it. Sometimes I feel like you got to do something to be successful at it, so you feel like what I'm saying. Like, all right, cool. I did that challenge. I accomplished that
Right.
thing.
Right.
Or you've got to just whatever. But um, that's, I guess, if we're like getting the nitty gritty, that's something I think about a lot. Is like how to figure out what's the actual life style, the life kind of you want to live. What is it you're really into? What's the shit you want to do?
Right.
And then just go as close straight for that line as possible. Like go the straightest line to that instead of playing the game of like, you know, it really comes down to self-awareness, which is also something that Gary Vee talks about a lot. But you got to figure out what you want. Who are you? What do you like? And if you don't know that, like he says, try shit. Try shit. Like I tried surfing. I'm
Right.
pretty damn good at it. It's fun. It's fun. Now, it's not what I want to do forever. It's fun to do for a couple months. Like
Mm.
maybe one day I'll be like, hey, I don't know, want to learn CPR and I want to go like, try to save people or something. Say whatever. Like, try
Yeah.
it. And then if you're like, this not for me, then that's okay. I want to give the stick to you, the floor to you, because I definitely feel like I'm monopolizing that a lot. So go ahead.
Yeah. So like all the things that you just mentioned about like doing what you want, doing what you love, it all makes sense. I was just like messaging my friends a couple of months back, and I was like
Hmm.
he was like asking me what should I do, man? Should I because I'm currently 22 years old, going to be
Nice.
23, and this is a pretty much an age whereby we can kind of like decide whether to go for the university that we want to go to
Uh
and all
huh.
that. Yeah. And my friend was just messaging me, should I go to the university that I don't really enjoy doing, or should I do something else? And I was like talking to him, and I was just mentioning to him like, just do what you want, man, just do what you love. And he's coming with me with all those kinds of excuses, like saying that, oh, but my family members told me to do this and
Uh
that
huh.
I will get a better job, that kind of stuff. And I feel like people nowadays is just like being, you know brainwashed into this type of mentality of like, you got to do this, you got to do that the politically correct way, instead of doing what's right for themselves. And I find it
Yeah.
really, really sad. And I've been stuck into this as well. And until now, I'm still quite influenced by the society norms and all that. And
Yeah.
still figuring out. And that's why I feel that the things that you just talked about, it makes sense to me, man. Yeah.
You know what's a really great way to kind of get around that, I think?
Mm.
And it's it's so funny. You're dying and you're gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
Like for real. We're all dying, like technically decomposing slowly, ever so slightly. And
Right.
one day you're just gonna fucking die. And we all are like, yeah, but that's like when I'm like 90. No. I genuinely could die this year. I
Right.
don't know. I don't know, okay? But this is the
Right.
point. I could like the conversation, like, oh shit, this is the craziest podcast I ever had. And all the things I said I want to do next never happen again, right? So
Right.
what or could never happen. So why would you waste your time, your life doing some shit that you don't even care about that you don't want to do?
Right.
And just for the sake of, well, this is what, see, everyone is playing this game of life, and it's like, all right, here, this is the game, this is life, right? We're playing a game, right? And
Right.
this is the rules, and you got to go to school, and then once you go to like, once you go through kindergarten, you go to first grade, and they're gonna keep going all the way up till you get to high school, and then you gotta do all those grades, and then now you're gonna go to college. So now you gotta go to college and get your associate's degree. Guess what? Associate's isn't enough. You gotta get a bachelor's degree. Well, if you really want to be someone smart, get your master's, bro. Have you thought about a doctorate or PhD? And then, like, you know what I'm saying? And now you're like, what,
Right.
32? And now you're like, all right, now I finally can live, start life, or like
Right.
30, whatever. I don't know. It's like, I think it's like 8 years for more, like all those degrees. Maybe it's like 12 years for your doctors, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
at the very least,
Yeah.
bachelor's, I think, is like 4 years, right? At the very least.
Right.
So
Right.
now you're 22 and you're starting life, or maybe you didn't go right away. So maybe you're 30 and you're starting life. And
Right.
okay, well, what's life? Well, now I did all that so I could get a job. So now you're gonna go job hunt, and now you find out that all the other motherfuckers who were doing the same thing you're doing in school are also now trying to get jobs. Now you're competing for jobs, and maybe you don't get the one you want, and then you might get that job that you went to school for 8 years to do, and find out you fucking hate it. You can't stand it, and you want to die, or you want to kill your coworkers. Or I'm not mean literally, but I mean like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just like I'm not about violence, but
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like it drives you crazy. And so, and then you feel you have this crisis. You're like, well, why did it? Okay, I know what's missing. What's missing is I have the job, I have the degree, I have that, but I don't have a family. So now I got to get a girl or I got to get the guy, and then we're going to get married and we're going to have kids. Oh, well, now we got to get a house. Well, we can't have an empty house. We got to fill the house up with shit. Oh, well, now the kids are getting older. So we got to send them to school. And we just do automatically. It's like a treadmill or it's like a program. We're just doing this shit. That's just how it's always been because that's how our parents told us to do because that's how they did it. And at some point, this is what a lot of people have when they hit their like,
Right.
40s to 60s. They have the midlife crisis where they're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
Right.
well, who am I? That is what I want to not avoid, but that is what I feel like if you're consciously thinking about this shit from the start, you don't have to go through the process. You don't have to be that parent who finally gets their kids out of the house and they're 50 and they realize that they're miserable and their whole life's been a sham because they were just doing something because other people told them they should do it.
Right.
I think that's like what it's really about figuring out for yourself. So if that's the life you want to play, if that's the game, that's the role you want to play, and you want to go through the steps, sure, go for it. But
Right.
true self awareness, knowing yourself in the sense of like your personality, your wants, your life, and what you want to do in this life, you got to be honest with yourself. So, like my brother right now, like just proposed to his girlfriend. They're gonna get a house
Wow.
together.
That's
They got all these
awesome.
dogs,
That's
and I'm
awesome.
like, cool, dude. I don't want to do that. Like, like if I the right girl,
Right.
maybe. I don't personally believe in marriage at the moment, but I just don't think it works. But also, it could be that I'm just feeling this like I gotta go travel the world and gotta do my
Mm.
thing, and so I know, like inside myself very deeply, that if I were to buy a house, do all this stuff, that I'm gonna get trapped, and that's not that's gonna be like what's the word? That's gonna be like a settling life that everyone would be so happy for me, but I would be miserable because that's not what I really want to do.
Right.
So, and most people they don't even think about it, or they do think about it, but they think about it in the sense of like, I gotta have this, and I gotta do that. Well, I gotta have that experience, and that's all great and all, but for me, I guess real kind of beautiful experience for me was when I lost all those things in my life. Like the girl that I had in my life at the time, I was this is the one that really she's such a sweet, amazing girl. I really think we could build a future together. And I could really see it. I could see like the family and someday the kids, and I would work really hard and I'd treat her like a queen and I'd give her everything. And
Right.
then it just all fell apart. And the point of
Right.
that was it was like a baby, like a little baby Yoda Satori, I think for me, like a little baby awakening to realize I don't need these things to be happy. These things are not going to give me any kind of purpose. There's not going to really like it would be great. I would have loved it, but
Right.
then what? Right?
Right.
It's like that. I guess it's that's it. And but then what? What's next? What comes after that? And the whole time you're playing this game of survival and reproduce and all this, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, go for it. But do it because you consciously say, "Hey, this is what I'd like to do in this life." Like maybe it's the only one I got. Maybe I get another one. I can't really honestly remember. But this time, I really feel like that I want to be a doctor and I want to save lives and I want to, have kids and I want to have a house and I want to do all that shit. I want to have a golden retriever that lives for like 30 years. And then when we're old, we have to bury it in the backyard and the kids cry, but we'll get a new baby golden retriever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all this shit that
Yeah.
happens in life. If that's what you want to do, awesome, go fucking do that. But if that's not for you, why are you wasting your time like living someone else's dream? That's their dream life. So you got to find
Mm.
out what yours is. You got to figure out what the Incan shamans. I read this amazing book that's just changed my fucking life in the last month
Right.
called The Heart of the Shaman. And the
Mm.
Incan shamans call it the sacred dream. And so it's
Right.
like finding that thing that's so beautifully wonderful for you that it just fills you with joy and happiness and excitement for life when you think about it. And that's what I realized I had to find for me. And I don't have it
Right.
specifically locked down yet. That's okay. But when I think about it, the idea is just like traveling and like that traveling and like vacation Instagram girl, but I mean like literally living and exploring all over the world and just living this adventurous life and see where the fuck it takes me. Even if it takes me to some like pirates kidnap me on a boat or some shit and I get help for it, like whatever it is, I
Right.
want to experience that adventure. I want to live that life. And when I think about that, that gave me the spark to keep living because I really got snuffed out last summer. and I realized I had to find a vision for myself. I had to find a new thing because basically, when you lose everything, when you have that crisis, you have to start all over, or you
Right.
just give up. And
Right.
so for me, and I know it sounds really like serious, to say with like a smile on my face, but it was pretty fucking serious at the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And in a way, it wasn't that big of a deal, but that's how I felt. I felt like it was all hopeless, and I just knew I had to find a vision for myself. And what it ended up being was what we're talking about now. It's just like feeling like, you know what? Oh, my PlayStation 4 is turning on. I'm using it for the light. It looks nice. Um,
Right.
but realizing that I had to find this sacred dream, this vision for my life, for myself. And even if I didn't know exactly what it was going to be,
Right.
I had like a sense of what kind of thing it would be. And so, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I can't even see that far in the future. Like, I can't even envision what I'll be like doing in 2 years, but I know where I'd like to be at the end of this year. And I want to be beginning that journey to go into the new country and go explore and stuff. So,
Mm.
um, shared all that to kind of paint that picture of, at least that's been my experience. Most people, we just, even like forgetting stuff, like that can be fun too. Like that can be your thing. You'd be like, man, I really want to like get Ferrari. And if that's your thing, and that you feel like that's going to bring you this great adventure, this great enjoyment, then go do it. But at the
Right.
same time, try to detach from just really wanting the Ferrari and make it more about the journey of getting the Ferrari, which is something that Gary Vee talks about all the time. Like
Right.
make it about the journey of getting there, not having that thing in itself. That makes sense.
Totally, totally. You know, like the moment that you talk about, like you say that you're gonna die, that hits me. You
Yeah,
know, like I don't know.
yeah,
You
man.
know, all my what senses. You know, everything just pops. You know, like holy shit, I'm gonna die. Like wow, that
we
really
don't want to.
hits
We don't
me.
want to look at it. We try to hide it. It's like
Yeah,
nah, that's like old people stuff. And you know, I
yeah,
met this really cool couple. It was a really bizarre experience, but it was this really cool couple. And then they told
right,
me, because I came out and I was like this, like you just have this. They told me like that you just have this amazing energy, this like full of life. They're like you remind me of our nephew who passed away a few years ago. His name is Seth, and he died like right around his 30th birthday, and he lived such a wonderful and exciting life. It was like he knew he was gonna go early, and I was like, shit, because I'm about to. Yeah, well, I wasn't scared. I was just like, wow, I think it's really beautiful. But at the same time, I was like, I'm about to turn 30, and I feel like, like I don't know. Like I genuinely thought like last Christmas, like this could be my last year, 2020. I have no idea why I thought that, but I think the reason why I did was to get myself like I'm not gonna do anything. I'm alright. Like I'm not afraid of death, but I
right,
want it's gonna happen naturally, and I'll talk about that about. But um,
right.
I thought about it and I was like, man, that is so beautiful though. Like you don't like a little reminder. You don't get. We all get a random number, right? It's like flip. And the like Price is Right. You spin the wheel and just
Yeah,
get like a
yeah,
random number. That's I feel like that's our life. That's our days. We all have a random number, and you can cheat the system if you want and go out early, or you can try to buy more time, but your time is your time. And
right,
just accept that and be okay with that and understand you don't know when it is. That's the whole thing. All right. It's like a
right.
surprise party. You can say, all right, well, that's a bad example. It could be like, I don't know, it could be like you're waiting on a call. Okay. You know,
Mm,
someone's going to call you back, but you have no idea when. Right.
mm.
And they say, I'll call you back soon. But that could be hour, that could be in a day, that could be 2 weeks. Maybe that's not a good example, but I think you get the idea.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I
you
get
know
the idea.
eventually it's
Yeah,
gonna happen, or eventually it's gonna happen. You just don't know exactly when, and it's part of that anticipation creates some of that excitement, you know. Or we're gonna see
right,
each other again sometime, and you really don't know when that's gonna be. I feel like that's kind of how like life and death is,
right,
and so you don't want to live in fear of it. Like that's the dumbest thing is be like, oh man, we're gonna die. And so then you just do nothing. But at the
right,
same time, understand like, yeah, yeah, you're gonna die. It's okay. We all do it. We all do it. Everything. That's the natural order thing. Every morning, the sun rises. Right? It's born, and it
right.
rises up to the middle of the sky in the middle of the day, and it's bright and it's hot and it's loud. It's like, yeah, it's living life. And then it starts to filter out a little bit, the sunset, right? And it's starting to fade
Right.
away. It's like old age. And then it dies, technically. goes under the horizon, and for the night, it's dead, and then it comes back. And everything, the seasons, everything in nature is like this. Yet somehow humans, we think we're different. We're
Right.
like, yeah, but we can build iPhones. We don't like, you know what I'm saying? And we totally forget that we come from this planet. We're part of it. We're part of this natural cycle. And so it's a beautiful thing to realize because one, you start to see things how they really are. But two, you don't have to be afraid of it. You can accept it and be cool with it. So like if you embrace that concept of which Gary Vee talks about a lot, like you're gonna die. Like
Right.
you're gonna die. And it's okay. But, you know, don't waste your
Mm.
fucking time on shit you don't like. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like it's like if your friend's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go shopping, but I really don't want to shop alone," and you're like, "I really don't want to go shopping." Now, most of the time, people would say, "But that's your friend. You should do it for them." But I would say, if you really don't want to do it, not even for your friend, don't go. Just say, "Hey man, sorry, I can't go today," and just say no, and that's okay.
Wow.
Or
Yeah.
you could be like, "Hey, I really don't want to go shopping, but I'd love to grab a beer with you. Like, let's meet at the end of it." And then I'm like, "All right, cool." You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Mm.
it's that. Be honest with yourself. If you know you don't want to do that shit, you don't have to do it. Now, so like the other night, my boss or friend for like
Right.
okay, it was my boss. I can't lie. So my boss called me up and he's like, "Hey man, like or he texted me. He's like, I'm having a really tough time. I just need someone to talk to you. I don't know why, but I picked you." And I was just got finished getting a massage, like a full body massage. So I'm like, yeah. So I knew I had really good energy and like really good happiness vibes. So I was like, I could definitely be there for him. And I kind of checked this and I was like, yeah, I'd like to go. I'd like to be there for my friend, for my boss. Like that, I can do that. Like I can give him an hour of my time. And there
Right.
was no obligation. There was no guilt. There was no I have to or should do this. It's just, yeah, yeah, I can do that. Like I'd like to do that. That'd be good. And so I was like, yeah, I'll be there in like 15 minutes. And I just went straight there. And
Right.
I didn't do it because he asked me to, if that makes sense. I did it
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
wanted to. So because I did it because I wanted to, there was no, God, I really don't want to be here. You know, it's like
Yeah.
someone at work could be like, "Hey man, I need you to cover my shift," and you could be like, "Cool, I would like to work more. Yeah, I got you, man. I got it. My pleasure." Or you could be like, "Oh, I really don't want to go, but I guess I have to. You know, it's the right thing to do." No,
Yeah.
if you feel that way, you just actually cheated yourself and that person and the company and everybody who comes today because you really don't want to be there. So you're actually bullshitting. It's like um, when we try to this the virtue signaling, or like when we try to be virtuous. Like if it's not really in you, it's all bullshit. How does that help anybody? You know? So like
Right.
like, be a good person. Like yeah, try to be a better person. But if you're really just a miserable bastard, you're kind of just a miserable bastard, you know? And maybe work on yourself, but it's gonna be like, hey, I'm kind of a miserable bastard, you know? And like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're not really this, Mother Teresa, this Gandhi, then you're just not that person. And maybe you'd like to be, but why, like, faking it doesn't do you any good. So it's kind of a lot to unpack there, but I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
yeah.
part of the natural swing of like live life authentically and live it in the way that's real for you, that's right for you. Not this like live your truth. Like people say that, but I feel like it's such a cliche thing. But
Right.
it's actually kind of like a spiritual teaching, but also a very practical one to just don't do shit that you don't want to do. Or as some people say, don't bullshit yourself. And I think that's
Yeah.
everyone can get that. Like, just don't bullshit yourself. And if you have to do something you really don't want to do, you can be honest. Like, I really don't want to do this. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to do
yeah.
this, and I think that's okay. Or you could be like, man, maybe I'm a bad person, but I really want to just like smash and dash right now. Like, whatever it is. Like, I'm just making stuff up, but like,
Right.
or you could say like, I really just want to eat these Oreos. Like, maybe I shouldn't, but I'm craving it right now. Be honest with yourself. Like,
Right.
we try to like trick ourselves into this like, that's the whole thing. I guess like pretending you're happy when you're not. No, it
Yeah.
doesn't work. You have to cultivate real, true happiness within yourself. You can't just bullshit your way through it.
That totally makes sense to me, you know. Like I'm actually feeling guilty right now for like bullshitting myself. Like
It's okay,
you know,
man.
just like couple of weeks ago, the things that you talk about, it actually happened to me. You know, like boss asking us to hey, do you want to do this? Then we're like sure. sure. Like everything we that I kind of do, like sure, and
Yeah.
and I
And
get
then you're
it,
like,
I
fuck
get
you.
it, yeah. But
Yeah, right.
inside of me, like, fuck, I don't want to do this, like, and this whole topic, this thing that you talk about, it just makes sense to me, like people bullshitting themselves, and I totally get that and all, yeah,
Yeah, the whole fake it till you make it and all that stuff. It's all bullshit, man. It doesn't do any good. It doesn't. And this is, I think, why we have. Well, part of the reason why we have a lot of people are depressed and anxious and have panic attacks, all this shit. It's not natural. There's a lot of things, a lot of reasons for it, but just simply living an inauthentic way,
right,
it like that can't be healthy. You know, like
right.
that's like saying like, oh yeah, I'm vegan and all you eat is McDonald's French fries. Like that's not healthy for you. You're tricking yourself. But here's the fuck. This is the crazy thing. Like I've been reading this book called Power versus Force by David R. Hawkins, and he's a
Right,
scientist who did this crazy cool experiment with like a kinesiology and stuff. They found that our bodies know already what's good for us, and even further, our consciousness already knows what's good for us. And even if we've never even if we don't know what the thing is, like if I'm holding up a package and it's with like like I don't know, like artificial sweetener that's not good for you, like it's in
right,
this envelope, our
right,
bodies actually fucking our consciousness knows what that is and that's not good for us, even if we mentally don't know. And they found out the reason why, this is kind of a spiritual thing, but that it has to be that they found we're basically all universally linked to like a database, like a universal consciousness. But basically,
right,
on a super like big level and on a super practical level of our physical bodies, you can't bullshit yourself. Like, and I think that creates for a lot of people that depression, that unhealthy like disconnection where we're like, oh yeah, no, it's cool. Like I like this, and like, no, you don't. And so, and it's okay that you don't. Like, for instance, say it's like family. You say you just really don't like your family. Just be honest with yourself. Like, I'm trying to, but I really don't like my family right now. I don't like being around them. I don't want to go see them for the holidays. That's okay. Like if that's where you're
right,
at right now, be honest with yourself and try to be honest with them if you can in the right way. But don't bullshit yourself. And then the cool thing is,
right,
once you accept that that's who you are in the moment and that's where you're at, then things actually kind of naturally seem themselves out. Where maybe then a month goes by and you go, hey, actually, like I'm cool. Like I would like to see my family, like genuinely. Like I think I would like to see.
mm,
And you're totally in a different place now because you went through that. But if you went there when you really didn't want to be,
right,
think about that. Think about how that feels to be someone's there. I'm sure we've all felt this. It could be
right,
a lover, a friend, a family member. They're there with you, but they're really not present with you. You can just kind of feel that they don't really want to be there with you, or they're not really
right,
listening to you, right? You're talking to
yeah,
me, and I'm like, uh huh, and I'm on my phone or I'm on Instagram, like, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm sure. And you're like,
right,
you're not fucking listening to me. It hurts, man. It fucking hurts because
yeah,
like there's that thing of like you're here, but you're not really here with me. Like I can see you, but you're not really like we're not connecting, and it's miserable, and then it feels
right,
worse than if you were just there on your own and they texted you once every 2 hours and you're like, oh hey, they're that's better than them being there with you, and you can just tell they don't want to be there with you. And I noticed that I've experienced that. So part of that, just being honest with yourself and with each other and just living more authentically, you kind of start to take that negative experience out, and it changes everything, man.
right,
Because if you're not doing anything you really don't want to do, then you can't be that person who's kind of being a miserable bastard, right? And then
right,
you're also not putting that out there, so you're not going to have that come back, and then you're going to be more, if you're living that way, you're going to be more aware of other people with you. They hear it because they want to be, or they hear it because I want them. So I've even adopted this into like dating and how I talk to like girls and stuff. Like
right,
God's, I because I'm working on like non-attachment and stuff. So I tell them like, hey, you're welcome to be in my life if you want to, and if you want to go, you're free to go. There's this Russian girl I dated that when she
right,
first told me this, I was like, what's your plan? You manipulative, sneaky person. Because that was how I was raised. But we were in Rome. This is like back in 2018,
right,
and because I took her to Italy, we're in Rome, and she wanted to go shopping, and I didn't want to go shopping. Okay, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to stop at this cafe or this bar and have a beer too and listen to music or like a podcast and just chill the fuck out and let her go shopping and she could come back,
Right.
And like we were dating, and that's what I wanted to do, right? So I told her, hey, why don't you go shopping and I'll stay right here so you can find me. You don't have to worry about me getting lost, and I'll drink a beer or two, and just come back and let me know when we're good, and we'll go back to the hotel. And fuck, it'll be great. And
Yeah.
and she's like, as you like. Or she's like, sitting her accent, she's like, as you like. And I was like, there's no way she means that. And I was like, wait. I was like, wait. I mean, is that okay? I can go shopping if you want. She's like, no, do as you like. But I did not believe it that she
Yeah.
truly meant do as you like, whatever pleases you, whatever you want to. And I think, and I now realize she genuinely did. I mean, sure, like I don't give a fuck. Go do whatever you want. Like
That's awesome.
she
Yeah.
actually, but I didn't believe it because the way
Right.
my mom and my sisters were, my family, my friends, and everyone I ever knew before, they never meant that. And I was like,
Yeah.
so then I started going like, well, okay, fine, I'll go shopping with you. And then now she's like, all right, sure, okay. And then we go, and I'm sitting there like, and I noticed it. Never forget. I looked at her, and she's just like, and she can't have fun and relax because she can feel me being there, not wanting to be there. And so now she's feeling bad. So she's rushing. So she doesn't have fun shopping. I don't have fun being there with her. We're both miserable now. And we kind of fighting over that shit. And if I had
Right.
just done as I really wanted and just not, even if she was fucking pissed or like hurt that I didn't want to go shopping with her, it would have been better for me to say, look, baby, like, I really just don't want to go shopping and I'm gonna drag you down if I go with you. So we can go shopping some other time when I'm in the mood for it. But tonight, you just go shopping and I'll stay here and drink beer. That would have been the right, true thing to do. And that would have been better for both of us. But I didn't do it at the time. So now I
Right.
can look back and be like, So that's one of my favorite thing now to say to people. And I just say it as a practice of like encouraging people
Yeah.
to literally, I say, as you like whatever you want. Yeah, go ahead. Whatever
Oh.
you want. Whatever you're in the mood for. Do as you like. And
Right.
it's just like not mantra. It's a little catchphrase I adopted from my ex that like later we ended up not being a good match for each other, but I learned that from her. This true like, hey, whatever you want. And I couldn't believe it at the time because I'm like, nobody means that. They always have
Right.
some sort of manipulation, some sort of trick,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
sort of game they're playing, and if you fail the game, some sort of shit test, and you fail the shit test, which the right way to done it either way was just go drink the beer because I already told her that's what to do. So she knew either way. So really, I came across as like a little bitch for being like, "Fine, I guess I'll go with you," and
Right.
but that wasn't even what it was about. Like in the psychology, it was just I didn't want to go shopping. She did. I actually ruined her time by going with her because I felt obligated to. And
Right.
when I really just want to have a beer, if I just done what I wanted to do, and she was like, "Sure, go," and she gave me permission, do what you like, I would have had a great time. She would have had a great time, and we would have had a better night that night. Instead, we ended up having to like talk it out and explain to each other for an hour, and then and so she's just like frustrated because she's like, "I said do what you like, and you're just here." And sometimes you
Yeah.
have those miscommunications, but growing up, I never that wasn't real for me. Like in my family, it was always some sort of not to like talk about it in my family. It's not that, but my childhood or my upbringing always there was never truly do what you like. There was always some kind of game, some sort of secret message you had to decode,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so part of my experience has been learning because I try to learn things from people, is
Right.
learning how to actually do as I like, and to encourage others and give them permission to do that. Like if you don't want to be with me, you don't have to be.
Right.
And it's amazing, dude, because people are like, just like I was like, nobody means this. Like, there's no
Yeah.
way you
Yeah.
mean this. And it's not like I don't care. I do care in a
Right.
sense. Like I do want them to be with me or want them to go grab a beer with me or whatever the thing is, right? But
Yeah.
I rather them do what they want to do, and I would rather do what I want to. And if those two end up being together, awesome. Like let's
Right.
go have a good time. But if what you really want, is different from what I really want, that's okay. Like go do your thing. I'll be here. Like, and it changed. It's changed my life, dude. It's changed the way I know it's already. It's changed the way in which I like my dating and just like experiences. I'm not trying to talk too much about that, but
Right.
literally, it's and the same thing. Like nobody talks like this. What the fuck? And but it's about that life. It's about just being honest with yourself, being honest with each other, and giving each other and yourself permission to literally do the things you want to do. And this is like in like I remember in the Bible, it's like if I don't know what
Right.
you believe in, but even in the Bible, there's a thing that's like, well, you could look at this as the universe or yourself or however you want to look at it. But it's like
Right. Right.
in the Bible, God says something like, "Don't do anything you really don't want to do because I already know, and it's offensive." Like basically, it's the same thing you could say like if you try to trick yourself into being, doing something that you really don't want to do, you already deep down know it's bullshit. So you're only making things worse, and then the other person can sense that. So that's kind of an interdynamic thing, but I think it's so powerful. Literally, just be honest with yourself and don't bullshit yourself and do as you like. And
Right.
like sometimes that's gonna mean that you're not gonna be a good person, which is trippy, right? Sometimes maybe that means you're technically not gonna be the best person. Maybe like right now, what I want to do is I want to steal this candy bar, and I'm not saying do this. You shouldn't steal, but you could just realize, man, what is it about me? Wants to fucking steal this candy bar so bad. And then you start being honest with yourself that you do want to do that. So
Right.
maybe you don't actually do it because you know you can't, it's illegal. But you now realize you get to do some self exploration to figure out what that trigger in you that makes you want to do that thing that you know you maybe shouldn't do. And maybe there's nothing wrong. Maybe something like the candy bar. Maybe you just want to have chocolate, right?
Right.
So you go, okay, like, okay, well, I really want to have chocolate. I'm on a diet. That's probably a better example. But God, I really want to eat the fucking candy bar. And so you have two options. You can let yourself do what you really want to do, and then
Right.
you'll either be okay with it or you'll feel guilty, or you can deny yourself that thing and then try to figure out why you want it so bad. Sometimes it's just better just have the candy bar. Like, man, that's really great candy bar. And then maybe you're on a diet and you go, oh man, I did it again, right? You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna be you're gonna be happier. Okay, I'm trying to find a good example for this. I
Yeah.
guess there's this girl, I'll just say there's this girl I knew. She
Right.
was, she was trying to be like really pure, like she was trying not to have, she's trying to be good, right?
Right.
Which is great. I don't know what you believe, but that's great. And then one day, I saw her face when it happened. She got a dick pic from this guy she liked, right? And her
Right.
face glowed. Like she was like, ah! She was so fucking excited. And I saw it and I was like, and no other time she's just like, miserable. And I was like, look, I'm not saying that you should be a bad person or whatever, but if that makes you that fucking happy,
Right.
if you know, is having that connection, getting it's something silly like a dick pic, makes you that happy,
Right.
maybe that's something you need, like in your life. And at the time, she was like, "No, no, 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 no! I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to." But then I saw her mind be like, "Wait, yeah, like I'm miserable trying to be pious, like trying to, because like it's like it's not that big of a deal." She was miserable trying to be like this perfect person, this holding this standard,
Right.
but
Right.
she was really happy just connecting and having a good time and playing around with somebody that she had a connection with that she liked.
Right.
And it changed. I saw it, and it changed. Eventually, she realized that she didn't like being, that she didn't want to be, a slut or whatever, but she wanted to be able to have that kind of connection with somebody that she was in a, romantic relationship with, and that she didn't basically need to overthink things so much. And then she ended up being way happier once she let go of this is the kind of person, because religion and things like that, our parents,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
society do this to us. They go, you got to be like this. Like, if you
Right.
notice, they're always telling us how to be. Like, if you're a guy, especially right now, because that's the hot thing. It's like, oh, first it was, you're too masculine. Now you're not masculine enough. And you're too this. Now you're not that. And they're always telling you, you should wear this. Skinny jeans are cool. Well, now skinny jeans are lame. You're still wearing skinny jeans? Oh, because skinny jeans are back in style. And at some point, I was just like, shut the fuck up. Like, shut up. I don't care.
Right.
I'm going to wear what I want to wear. And I don't care if you think it's cool or gay or whatever it is at the moment to you.
Right.
It's just going to change in like 3 years, anyways. So just let me do what I want to do. And this is a great example of that fashion style, right? Like the hipster movement, like people start
Yeah.
wearing like, now we're wearing like the 90s. Like, okay, Urban Outfitters, right? I'm
Mm.
getting with some of this. Urban Outfitters, I'm sure you know about them. They sell like all the hipster. I walked in one a couple years ago, and they were selling what was the brand? It was let's just call it like Ballers or something like that, right? And
Right.
it was like $80 for a t-shirt. And I was like, motherfucker. Because when I was 10, 11 years old and I wore a Ballers t-shirt, I'm just say that's the brand Ballers. I
Right.
got made fun of and bullied because I was wearing the poor kid shirt that because it was sold at Walmart. And I will never forget this. And I mean, I got like roasted for wearing it. And they're like, "Yeah, you're the poor kid," because I was poor as a kid.
Right.
And I was like, "No, no, I didn't know. It was a gift, you know." And I tried to like hide it. And then now, like, so that
Right.
went from like the Walmart like poor kids shit to now that's the hot hipster shit, and you're paying like 3 times the price. And I'm like, and I laughed. I was like, this is so fucking stupid. Like we do
Right.
this to ourselves. And then you go to maybe someone goes to a thrift store, they go to a flea market, and they buy something that their grandpa wore that was, saying, and that was cool. And we constantly are just making up shit like words.
Right.
Like, do you know how confused I was? Because when I was a little kid, my grandparents would say the word queer, and it was like, "Yay, jolly, happy, have a good time." And then when I became a teenager, I was told that that was not okay to say because that was mean to the LGBT people, and then gay people, and then now it's one of their identifiers that's like really great again. And I'm like, you constantly just change shit up. And I'm using that
Right.
as an example of how society and like our parents and our family and religion, all these things will constantly tell us who we should be, what we should say, how we should act, and this never ends. And they always keep changing their fucking minds. It never ends. So at some point, you have to just pull yourself out, pull a step back, and go, okay, hold on. You guys do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I gotta figure this out for me because this is getting fucking ridiculous. And you take a minute to just figure like, who are you? What's actually important to you? What do you actually believe
Right.
in? What values do you have? And when you actually get to that like that authentic self, of your that kind of part of you that you feels good about you, and you're like, yeah, this is what I believe in. This is what's important to me. It
Right.
changes everything, dude. Because like you're not stressing yourself out. You're not fake. You're not playing some game that you don't believe in or agree with. You're just doing you, and you're living the life that you feel is the right for you in that moment. And it's not even about being this like
Right.
perfect person or being a bad person. It's just that's who you are in the moment. You can't do any better than you can. But
Yeah.
being aware of that is huge. So I want to give you back the
Yeah.
floor, man. But that's what I was talking.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like I gonna end off this podcast, yeah. Like, but before anything else, super grateful for you to like join me on this podcast. Like,
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
yeah,
Sorry I made you wait
yeah,
so long.
yeah. I find that you're
Hey, you
super,
know what though?
yeah,
You know what though?
yeah.
A month ago or 2 months ago, when we were gonna do this, I wasn't even in as good of a place. So maybe I wasn't ready to do your podcast time. So thank you for being patient with me.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, I think that your superpower right now, is like your ability to be able to recollect all the memories that you had and then sharing it out. And I find it like,
Thanks, man.
all your stories, it just somehow I can find a deep connection to it. And I find it like super fascinating, and I think you should continue doing that. Sharing all these
Thank you.
amazing stories. Yeah, and there's like
Thank you, man.
yeah, so much things that you are talking about, and I believe that there's still so much in you that you want to share, but time
Yeah,
constraint, and probably I
that's
really
okay, dude.
love to dive into a second episode if you're comfortable
Hell
doing
yeah.
that. And
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah,
we can try to stick to some you want next time. Although I really believe in like letting things just naturally flow where they want to, because
yeah,
that's where you get to those cool little moments,
yeah,
those
yeah, yeah,
aha moments.
yeah,
I guess I'll end it with what we're talking about and what I've been doing in that sense. So like how you said recall stuff. It's actually a form of
right,
meditation, or not a form of. It's a form of improvement called contemplation. Okay.
yeah,
So some people meditation works for them. They sit still and they don't think of anything. I have a hard time with that, but I can
yeah,
think of things and ponder them. I do this naturally. I've always done that. So, and then this David R. Hawkins, the guy who did that really great book called Power versus Force, I was telling you about, he talks
right,
about like one of the ways to get to that kind of place of awakening or enlightenment or just like a higher level in your own life and your own self is through contemplation. I was like, that's mine. That's me right there. Because I I like to think, I like to talk. I talk to myself all the time. I'm having these conversations with myself, dude. And be like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, when I was 6, I said that thing. That's why I still can't talk to girls or whatever it was, right?
Right.
And so so even that, like that's part of that, like figuring like what helps you, what if you like doing yoga, cool. If you like working out, awesome. If you like sitting and playing video games, great. Whatever is that thing that helps you get deeper within yourself and improve yourself and get to that point where you're just like you're happy, you're just being, you're just in the moment. Do that. And for me,
Right.
contemplation helps a lot. And then I find I can use that to share and tell those stories to other
Right.
people. And then you're probably gonna get off this call and be like, man, and you'll have like do. You should write those things down if you have those thoughts. Write it down. We can talk about it next time. Want to
Yeah,
or just for
yeah, yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
but because I'm just like talking about my shit, but
Right.
for you, you're hearing it and it's gonna start triggering all these stuff, you know. So definitely,
Yeah.
take advantage of that because sometimes I don't even know why I say what I say. I just say it because I feel like that's what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
should
yeah,
say.
yeah.
But maybe it helps, man. I don't know. And
Yeah.
whoever's listening to this, I hope they got some cool shit out of it too.
Yeah, you just dropping the self-awareness that you gotten, that you realize for yourself, and you kind of
Yeah.
on the flow keep on doing that kind of stuff. Yeah. So yeah, before anything else, where can we find you on social media platforms? Probably tell us where can we find you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, because I was starting to do YouTube, but I got like totally sideswiped on that, or sidetracked on that. Right now, Instagram, at Broseph, Broseph, David, David. Just at Broseph David on Instagram, and DM me, comment, just DM me. Like if you're interested, whoever wants to talk, wants to just like shoot the shit or pass some cool ideas or ask about what books I'm reading, whatever, just DM me. Like I see them all and I try to respond. Maybe in the future I'll have some more complicated social media stuff, but right now I do less on social media and more
Right.
in my daily life. So
Mm.
because I kind of just like focus, try to work on myself more, and get like less on being a gram guy. So so
Yeah.
just hit me up on there anytime, man. It's to you as well, Jack. Like it's been an absolute pleasure to be on your podcast. I've honestly really wanted to do this for a long time, and you're the first person who like gave me a really solid offer on
Yeah.
that. So thank you. I appreciate it,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. We should do it another time. Yeah. A hundred,
Absolutely, man.
yeah, 100%, yeah, and like super grateful for you to be here once again. This is your Jack Low experience, and thank you, Joseph, man. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's been a pleasure, and definitely send me a link of it's done. I'd love to watch it and share with you. Okay.
All right. Any last words before we end off? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna end on that the main key, man. Don't bullshit yourself.
All right. That's
I think that's
awesome.
a good one.
Awesome. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys have a great
All right.
one.
All right. See you soon.
All right.